Lisa Martinez rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the clock on her desk. 3 more hours until her shift ended at Earth Defense Station Luna 7. The night shifts were always quiet, with nothing but the soft hum of computers and the distant sound of air recyclers keeping her company. She had been monitoring space communications for 6 years now, and most nights were exactly the same. Ships checked in, weather reports came through, and mining crews complained about broken equipment. Tonight felt different, though. A strange signal had been coming through on the deep space channels for the past hour. It was weak and broken, like someone trying to talk through thick static. Lisa had run it through every filter and translator program she knew, but nothing worked. The signal kept repeating the same pattern over and over again. She decided to wake up Commander Jake Harrison. He would not be happy about being called at 3 in the morning, but something about this signal made her nervous. Lisa pressed the communication button on her desk and waited for Jake to answer. "This better be important, Martinez," Jake said. His voice was rough from sleep. "Sir, I have been picking up an unusual transmission for the past hour. It does not match anything in our databases, and the translation programs cannot make sense of it. Probably just interference from the solar storm last week. File a report and forget about it. Sir, I really think you should hear this. The pattern is too regular to be natural interference." Jake was quiet for a moment. "Fine, send it to my office. I will be there in 10 minutes. Lisa transferred the signal to Jake's computer and continued listening. The static seemed to be getting clearer. She could almost make out what sounded like words, but in no language she had ever heard. The voice on the other end sounded desperate, like someone calling for help. Jake arrived at her station carrying a large cup of coffee. His hair was messy and he looked annoyed. "Show me what you have." Lisa played the recording for him. Jake listened carefully, his expression changing from irritation to interest. "That does sound artificial. Have you tried running it through the new translation software Dr. Foster installed last month?" "No, sir, I did not know we had new software. Amy Foster is our new language expert. She created some kind of universal translator program. Let me call her." 20 minutes later, Dr. Amy Foster arrived at the station. She was a small woman with bright eyes who always seemed excited about everything. She sat down at Lisa's computer and began typing commands that Lisa had never seen before. "This is fascinating," Amy said. "The signal is definitely from an intelligent source. The language structure is completely alien, but there are mathematical patterns I can work with." Amy's fingers flew across the keyboard. Numbers and symbols filled the screen. After an hour of work, words began appearing on the monitor. At first they made no sense, but slowly a message started to form. Emergency transmission to any vessels in range. Research ship Valkyrie 7 in critical condition. Hull breach in Sector 4, life support failing. Crew of 12 requires immediate assistance. Current position follows. The 3 humans stared at the screen in silence. Lisa felt her heart beating faster. They were looking at humanity's first message from an alien civilization. "There is more," Amy said. She continued working on the translation. "They keep repeating something about Deathworlders. Let me see if I can figure out what that means." More text appeared on the screen, calling any Deathworlder vessels in range. Standard Federation ships cannot survive rescue conditions. Radiation levels exceed safe limits for most species. Only Deathworlder technology can attempt rescue. Jake stood up and began pacing around the small office. "They think we are something called Deathworlders, and they believe we can help them when other aliens cannot. The coordinates are included in the message," Lisa said. "The location is about 6 hours away at maximum speed." "I need to contact Earth Command immediately," Jake said. "This is way above my authority level." Admiral Chuck Peterson was in his office at Earth Command within 2 hours. Video conferences with world leaders followed. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Should humanity attempt to make contact with an alien species? The decision came from the top. President Maria Santos herself gave the order. Earth would send a rescue mission. The ship chosen was the UES Pioneer, a military vessel designed for deep space operations. Captain Ryan Brooks would command the mission. Captain Brooks was a calm man who had spent 15 years exploring the outer planets. He chose his crew carefully. Dr. Lisa Wong would serve as medical officer, even though no one knew what alien biology might be like. Pete Sullivan was selected as chief engineer because he could fix anything that broke. Alex Turner, the security chief, would handle any dangerous situations. The Pioneer left Earth orbit 12 hours after the alien signal was first received. As they traveled toward the coordinates, Amy Foster continued working on the translation. She discovered that the aliens called themselves Valkyrie. Their ship was a research vessel studying cosmic radiation patterns. "Captain," Amy said over the ship's communication system, "I have been thinking about this Deathworlder term. Based on the context, I believe it refers to species that come from very dangerous planets. The Valkyrie seem to think such species would be naturally resistant to harsh conditions." "You mean they think Earth is a dangerous world?" Captain Brooks asked. "That appears to be correct. From their perspective, any species that could survive on our planet would be incredibly tough." Lisa Wong laughed from the medical bay. "Wait until they find out about our weather. I wonder what they would think about hurricanes and earthquakes." Pete Sullivan was checking the ship's systems when he overheard the conversation. "If they think Earth is dangerous, they are going to be really surprised when they meet us." 6 hours later, the Pioneer arrived at the coordinates. What they found was both amazing and terrifying. The Valkyrie ship was trapped in a field of asteroids that glowed with radiation. The alien vessel was small and delicate looking like it. Was made of glass and silver wire. Parts of it were clearly damaged, with atmosphere leaking into space. "Captain," Alex Turner said from his station, "the radiation levels out there would kill most humans in minutes without protection." "But we have protection," Captain Brooks replied. "Prepare the rescue shuttle. Dr. Wong, get ready to treat alien patients. We are going to save some lives today." As the Pioneer moved closer to the damaged alien ship, Captain Brooks wondered what they were about to discover. Humanity was about to take its first step into a much larger universe, and nothing would ever be the same again. The rescue operation went better than anyone expected. Captain Brooks watched through the shuttle windows as Pete Sullivan worked in the radiation field around the alien ship. The engineer wore his standard protective suit, the same kind humans used for working near nuclear reactors. He moved quickly and confidently, connecting emergency power cables to the damaged Valkyrie vessel. Dr. Lisa Wong was already preparing the medical bay for their first alien patients. She had no idea what to expect, but her training taught her to be ready for anything. When the shuttle docked with the Pioneer 30 minutes later, she got her first look at beings from another world. The Valkyrie were tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed almost transparent. Their eyes were large and dark, and they moved very carefully, like they were afraid of breaking something. The first alien to enter the medical bay was wearing what looked like an environmental suit covered in blinking lights. "I am Deathworlder," the alien said through a translation device. "Science officer of the research vessel Valkyrie 7, we owe you our lives." Dr. Wong helped Deathworlder onto an examination table. "I am Dr. Lisa Wong. Can you tell me about your injuries?" As she began her examination, Dr. Wong discovered something surprising. The Valkyrie were incredibly fragile compared to humans. Their bones were hollow like bird bones, and their skin was thin enough to see blood vessels underneath. The radiation that had damaged their ship would have been barely noticeable to humans, but it was deadly to the Valkyrie. "Your species is remarkably resilient," Deathworlder said as Dr. Wong treated his radiation exposure. "The conditions around our ship would kill most Federation races within minutes." "Federation?" Dr. Wong asked. "The Galactic Federation, the alliance of civilized species that governs this part of the galaxy. Though I suppose you would not know of it, being from an undiscovered world." Captain Brooks arrived in the medical bay just in time to hear this conversation. "Are you saying there are hundreds of alien species out there?" Deathworlder looked surprised. "Hundreds? Captain, there are over 2,000 member species in the Federation. And that represents only a small fraction of all intelligent life in the galaxy. The humans looked at each other in amazement. They had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they were learning that the galaxy was crowded with intelligent life. But how have we never detected any of this? Pete Sullivan asked. He had just finished repairing the Valkyrie ship and wanted to learn more about alien technology. Most Federation species develop space travel gradually, Dekvar explained. By the time they reach other star systems, they have already discovered faster-than-light communication. You would have received our signals and known about galactic civilization. The fact that you did not suggest your world is very isolated. Dr. Amy Foster had been listening to every word. Dekvar, you mentioned Deathworlders in your distress call? What does that term mean? The Valkyrie science officer became very still. Deathworlders are beings from planets so hostile that survival there creates incredibly tough species. Most Federation citizens believe they are myths or legends. The few confirmed Deathworlder species in galactic history were either extinct or extremely rare. What made their planet so dangerous? Amy asked. Extreme weather, dangerous predators, natural disasters, high radiation levels, toxic atmospheres. The kind of conditions that would sterilize most worlds. Dekvar paused. What is your homeworld like? Amy looked at Captain Brooks, who nodded for her to continue. Earth has all of those things. We have storms that can destroy entire cities. Earthquakes that reshape continents and animals that can kill humans easily. Most of our planet's surface is covered by water deep enough to crush our bodies. Dekvar stared at them. And you consider this normal? Well, yes, Dr. Wong said. That is just how planets are, right? No, Dekvar said quietly. Most Federation worlds are garden paradises. Stable weather, gentle creatures, no natural disasters. My homeworld has not experienced a significant weather event in over 1,000 years, Pete Sullivan laughed. That sounds boring. Where is the challenge in that? Challenge? Dekvar looked confused. Why would anyone want their environment to be challenging? The cultural exchange continued for hours as the Pioneer escorted the repaired Valkyrie ship toward the nearest Federation outpost. The humans learned about technologies that seemed like magic. Faster-than-light travel, energy manipulation, gravity control. The Federation had been using these technologies for thousands of years. In return, the Valkyrie learned about human society. They were amazed that humans had developed advanced technology while living on such a dangerous world. They could not understand how humans remained calm when discussing deadly storms or dangerous animals. On my world, Dekvar said, if the temperature varies by more than 5 degrees, we consider it an emergency. You tell me your planet has regions where the temperature changes by 40 degrees in a single day. That is just weather, Alex Turner said. Sometimes it changes even faster than that. The security chief was demonstrating human physical capabilities by doing his daily workout routine. He was lifting weights that would have been impossible for any Valkyrie to move. To him, it was just normal exercise. To Dekvar, it looked like superhuman strength. How much gravity does your world have? Dekvar asked. Standard Earth gravity, Pete Sullivan replied. Why? Amy Foster did some quick calculations. Dekvar, what is the gravity on your homeworld? 0.6 standard units. Amy turned to the other humans. That means Earth has almost twice the gravity they are used to. No wonder they think we are strong. The conversation was interrupted when the Pioneer's sensors detected a large space station ahead. It was beautiful, made of white and silver. Materials that seemed to glow with their own light. Ships of dozens of different designs were docked at various ports. Welcome to Station Harmony, Dekvar said. The first Federation outpost you will encounter. I should warn you, your arrival will cause quite a stir. True Deathworlders have not been seen in living memory. Captain Brooks looked at his crew. They had come out here to rescue a damaged ship. Now they were about to become the first humans to make official contact with a galactic civilization. He activated the ship's communication system. This is Captain Ryan Brooks of the Earth vessel Pioneer. We request permission to dock and begin formal first contact procedures. The response from the station was immediate. Earth vessel, please. Stand by, we are experiencing some confusion here. Did you say Earth? As in an undiscovered death world? That appears to be correct, Captain Brooks replied. There was a long pause. Then, Station Harmony welcomes Earth to the galactic community. Please proceed to Docking Bay 7. And Captain, prepare yourself for a great deal of attention. As the Pioneer approached the station, Amy Foster wondered what they were getting themselves into. Behind them was Earth, a world that apparently made them legends. Ahead was a galaxy full of wonders and dangers they could not imagine. Humanity was about to take its place among the stars, and nothing would ever be simple again. Station Harmony had never seen anything like the chaos that followed the Pioneers' arrival. Veltar, the Zenthari station commander, stood in his office watching dozens of communication screens light up with incoming messages from across Federation. Space. News of the Deathworlders had spread faster than he thought possible. Captain Brooks and his crew were escorted through the station by a group of nervous Federation security officers. Every alien they passed stopped to stare at the humans. Some looked curious, others seemed frightened. A few species immediately left the area when they saw the humans approaching. Is this normal for first contact? Amy Foster asked Ekvar, who was walking beside them. Nothing about this situation is normal, Bivelkari replied. Most new species are discovered by exploration ships after years of careful study. They join the Federation slowly, after months of cultural preparation. You have arrived as legendary beings that most people thought were myths. The first official meeting took place in Station Harmony's main conference room. Veltar was a tall, graceful being with golden skin and large, intelligent eyes. He welcomed the humans politely, but Amy could tell he was extremely nervous. On behalf of the Galactic Federation, I welcome Earth to our community, Veltar said. Though, I must admit, we are not entirely prepared for this situation. Ambassador Kate Reynolds had arrived on a fast courier ship from Earth 6 hours earlier. She was humanity's first official galactic diplomat, though her experience was limited to dealing with other human nations. Commander Veltar, we appreciate your hospitality. We hope to establish peaceful relations with all Federation species. Yes, well, that is what we all hope, Veltar replied. However, there are some practical concerns we need to address. Amy Foster was serving as the cultural advisor for the human delegation. What kind of concerns? Your capabilities, Veltar? Sighed carefully. The reports from Dekvar suggest that humans can survive in environments that would be instantly fatal to most Federation species. This makes many of our members nervous. Pete Sullivan, who had been invited to the meeting as a technical expert, looked confused. Why would that make anyone nervous? We are here to help, not to hurt anyone. It is not your intentions we question, Veltar explained. It is the implications of your abilities. If humans can work in high radiation environments, survive in toxic atmospheres, and operate in extreme conditions, then many of our defensive systems would be useless against you. Captain Brooks leaned forward. Commander, we have no interest in conflict with anyone. We came here to rescue people in danger. That should tell you something about our character. Before Veltar could respond, his communication system activated. An alien appeared on the main screen, speaking rapidly in a language Amy did not recognize. Veltar listened carefully, then turned back to the humans. I apologize, but we have a situation developing. The Hegemony has demanded an immediate meeting. With your delegation? The Hegemony? Kate Reynolds asked. A military alliance of several aggressive species, Dekvar explained quietly. They maintain peace through superior firepower and strict control. They will not be happy about Deathworlders appearing in Federation space. Within an hour, 3 large warships had arrived at Station Harmony. They were dark, angular vessels that looked designed for intimidation rather than exploration. A delegation of Hegemony representatives boarded the station and immediately demanded access to the humans. The Hegemony delegation was led by a being called War Commander Zektar. He was massive, with gray skin and eyes like black stones. When he entered the conference room, the temperature seemed to drop several degrees. "So," Zektar said, his voice deep and threatening, "the mythical Deathworlders have finally appeared. How convenient that they choose now to reveal themselves." "We did not choose anything," Captain Brooks replied calmly. "We responded to a distress call, as any civilized people would do." "Civilized?" Zektar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Deathworlders are not civilized. They are weapons of biological warfare, created by hostile worlds to destroy peaceful species." Alex Turner had remained quiet during most of the meeting, but now he spoke up. "That is completely wrong. Humans are not weapons. We are explorers and scientists, just like everyone else here." "Are you?" Zektar challenged. "Then explain how you survived the radiation around the Valkyrie ship. Explain how you can lift objects that would crush other species. Explain how you remain calm when discussing planetary conditions that would terrify seasoned warriors." Dr. Lisa Wong had been listening to the conversation with growing frustration. "We can do those things because we had to learn how. Earth taught us to be strong. Not because we wanted to hurt anyone, but because we needed to survive. That does not make us monsters." "Prove it," Zektar demanded, before anyone could ask what he meant. 6 heavily armed Hegemony soldiers entered the conference room. They moved to surround the human delegation, their weapons drawn but not quite pointed at anyone. "You will come with us for protective custody," Zektar announced, "until we can determine whether Deathworlders represent a threat to galactic security." The room went completely silent. Ambassador Reynolds looked shocked. Commander Veltar appeared terrified. Vekvar stepped protectively closer to the humans. Captain Brooks stood up slowly. "Commander Zektar, we came here in peace. We have threatened no one and harmed no one. We will not be taken prisoner for the crime of being born on a dangerous world." "You have no choice in the matter," Zektar replied. "Surrender now, or my soldiers will force you to comply." Alex Turner looked around the room, counting enemies and calculating odds. Pete Sullivan was checking the positions of the exits. Dr. Wong was moving slightly to put herself between the weapons and Ambassador Reynolds. Without saying a word, the humans had automatically prepared for a fight. "You are making a mistake," Captain Brooks said. "We do not want to hurt anyone, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." "Defend yourselves?" Zektar seemed amused. "Against 6 trained soldiers with military-grade weapons? Even Deathworlders are not that foolish." What happened next took less than 30 seconds. Alex Turner moved faster than any of the aliens had thought possible. He disarmed the nearest soldier and used the man's own weapon to disable 2 others. Pete Sullivan grabbed a heavy conference table and used it as a shield while advancing on another group of soldiers. Captain Brooks simply walked up to Zektar and placed one hand on the war commander's chest. "Stop this now," Brooks said quietly, "or someone is going to get seriously hurt." The Hegemony soldiers found themselves on the floor, their weapons scattered around the room. None of them were seriously injured, but all of them were completely helpless. The entire fight had been over before most of the observers realized it had started. Zektar stared at Captain Brooks in shock. "How is this possible? We learned to fight on a world where everything wants to kill you," Alex Turner replied as he helped one of the soldiers to his feet. "But we also learned when not to kill. All of your people will be fine." Commander Veltar was speaking rapidly into his communication device, probably calling for more security. Ambassador Reynolds was trying to restart diplomatic negotiations. Dr. Wong was checking on the injured Hegemony soldiers, but the real damage had already been done. Within minutes, recordings of the fight were spreading across Federation networks. Every species in the galaxy would soon see humans casually defeating trained military forces without breaking a sweat. The age of galactic peace was about to become much more complicated, and humanity had just announced its arrival in the most dramatic way possible. "War Commander." Zektar looked at the humans with a mixture of fear and respect. "The Hegemony will remember this day. So will we," Captain Brooks replied. "We hope next time we meet it will be as friends instead of enemies." The news of humanity's existence spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On thousands of worlds, billions of beings watched the recordings from Station Harmony with fascination and fear. The peaceful Xanthari saw humans as potential protectors. Who could defend them from aggressive species? The scientific Mouven regarded them as the most interesting discovery in galactic history. The militaristic species of the Hegemony were split between those who wanted to recruit humans and those who saw them as an existential threat to their dominance. On Earth, President Maria Santos found herself dealing with the biggest crisis in human history. Admiral Chuck Peterson sat across from her in the Oval Office, both of them watching reports from across Federation space on multiple screens. "Madam President," Admiral Peterson said, "we have 17 different alien species requesting immediate military alliances. The Hegemony has declared us a hostile threat and is mobilizing their battle fleets. 3 Federation member worlds have requested human protection from their own neighbors. And somehow we have become the most famous species in the galaxy without ever leaving our own solar system." Dr. Stephen Clark, Earth's leading scientist, entered the room carrying a stack of data tablets. "The information we are receiving from Captain Brooks is revolutionary. Faster than light travel is not only possible, it is commonplace. But our materials science and engineering capabilities appear to be centuries ahead of most galactic species." "How is that possible?" President Santos asked. "They never had to deal with the challenges Earth presented," Dr. Clark explained. "Most Federation species evolved on garden worlds with stable climates and gentle environments. They developed advanced energy manipulation and faster-than-light travel, but they never needed to build things that could survive earthquakes, hurricanes, or extreme temperature changes." Admiral Peterson stood up and began pacing. "Madame President, we need to make some decisions quickly. The Hegemony fleet that is heading toward our space numbers over 3,000 vessels. Even if our technology is superior, we are vastly outnumbered. What does Captain Brooks recommend?" "He believes we should prepare for war while hoping for peace," Admiral Peterson replied. "He also suggests we mobilize every available ship, including civilian vessels." President Santos looked shocked. "Civilian ships? We cannot send miners and cargo haulers against alien warships." Dr. Clark smiled grimly. "Actually, Madam President, we can. Our civilian ships are built to operate in conditions that would destroy most military vessels from other species. A human mining ship designed to work in asteroid fields can survive impacts that would shatter alien warships." Meanwhile, on Station Harmony, the situation was becoming more tense by the hour. Commander Veltar was trying to manage delegations from dozens of species, all wanting to meet with the humans. Some came seeking alliances, others demanding that humanity be contained before they could threaten galactic peace. Captain Brooks found himself in the impossible position of representing an entire planet in negotiations he was not trained for. Ambassador Reynolds was doing her best, but galactic politics were far more complex than anything humans had ever experienced. "Captain," Amy Foster said, entering his temporary quarters, "I have been monitoring Federation communications. The Hegemony is not the only threat we are facing. Several other military alliances are mobilizing as well. Some want to recruit us, others want to eliminate us before we become too powerful." "Any good news?" Brooks asked. "Actually, yes. About 40% of Federation species are supporting our admission to galactic society. They believe Deathworlders could solve many problems that have plagued the galaxy for centuries." "What kind of problems?" Amy consulted her notes. "Rescue operations in hazardous environments, exploration of dangerous regions, defense against aggressive species. Apparently there are entire sectors of space that have been abandoned because they are too dangerous for normal Federation ships to operate in." Their conversation was interrupted by Alex Turner, who entered the room looking concerned. "Captain, we have a problem. 3 Hegemony agents just tried to break into Dr. Wong's quarters. I stopped them, but they were carrying some kind of scanning equipment. They wanted to study us," Amy realized. "They are trying to figure out what makes humans different from other species. Captain Brooks activated his communication device. Commander Veltar, we need to talk. 20 minutes later, the human delegation met with Veltar in his private office. The Xanthari commander looked exhausted from dealing with the political crisis that humanity's arrival had created. Commander, Brooks said, we appreciate your hospitality, but it is clear that our presence here is causing more problems than solutions. Perhaps we should return to Earth and allow the Federation time to adjust to our existence. Captain Brooks, with respect, that would be the worst possible decision, Veltar replied. If you leave now, every species in the galaxy will assume you are either hiding something or preparing for war. The speculation and fear would be far worse than the current situation. Then what do you suggest? Stay and prove that Deathworlders can be trusted. Show the galaxy that humans are not the monsters from ancient legends. Ambassador Reynolds leaned forward. How do we do that when half the galaxy wants to recruit us and the other half wants to destroy us? Before Veltar could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the station. The commander quickly activated his communication system and spoke rapidly with his security chief. What is happening? Amy Foster asked. The Hegemony fleet has arrived, Veltar replied grimly. War Commander Zektar is demanding immediate custody of all humans on this station. Through the windows of Veltar's office, they could see the massive Hegemony warships taking position around Station Harmony. The dark vessels looked like predators surrounding their prey. Captain Brooks opened a communication channel to his ship. Pete, get the Pioneer ready for immediate departure. Already on it, Captain, Sullivan replied. But I should mention that we are completely surrounded. Attention Station Harmony, a voice boomed over the communication system. This is war. Commander Zektar of the Hegemony Third Fleet. By order of the Hegemony High Command, all Deathworlders will surrender themselves for protective custody. Any resistance will be considered an act of war against the Hegemony. Commander Veltar looked terrified. Captain Brooks, I cannot protect you from an entire battle fleet. If you do not surrender, they will destroy this station and everyone on it. Captain Brooks stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the enemy ships. Commander, how many people live on this station? Approximately 50,000 beings, from 30 different species. And the Hegemony would really kill all of them just to capture a few humans? War Commander Zektar would, Veltar said quietly. He believes that containing Deathworlders is worth any price. Alex Turner joined. Brooks at the window. Captain, I count 47 heavy cruisers and at least 12 dreadnoughts. Even if our technology is superior, those are not good odds. You are right, Brooks replied. Those are terrible odds for them. Sir? Captain Brooks turned to face his crew. How long would it take us to get back to Earth? About 18 hours at maximum speed, Pete Sullivan replied over the communication system. And how long would it take the Hegemony fleet to follow us there? Amy Foster did some quick calculations. Based on what we know about their technology, about 36 hours. Perfect, Brooks said. That gives Earth 18 hours to prepare for visitors. Ambassador Reynolds looked shocked. Captain, you cannot lead an alien invasion fleet to Earth. I am not leading them anywhere, Brooks replied. I am going home. If they choose to follow, that is their decision. But when they arrive, they are going to discover that attacking Deathworlders on their home planet is very different from threatening them in neutral space. Captain Brooks activated the station's general communication system. War Commander Zektar, this is Captain Brooks. We decline your offer of protective custody. We are returning to Earth. You are welcome to follow us, but I should warn you that Earth is not a Federation station. It is a death world, and we make the rules there. The response was immediate. You cannot escape, Deathworlder, surrender now, or face the consequences. The only consequences today will be for those who threaten. Innocent people, Brooks replied. Pioneer out. As the human ship prepared to leave Station Harmony, every being in the galaxy held their breath. The Deathworlders were going home, and they were taking the galaxy's most powerful military force with them. What happened next would determine whether humanity joined galactic civilization as friends or enemies. The journey back to Earth took 18 hours, but it felt like 18 days to Captain Brooks and his crew. Behind them, the massive Hegemony fleet followed like a dark storm cloud. Ahead of them lay their home, completely unaware that the galaxy's largest military force was about to arrive in human space. Admiral Peterson had used every minute of those 18 hours wisely. When the Pioneer dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, they found Earth's defense fleet waiting for them. What surprised Captain Brooks was not the number of ships, but the types of vessels that had been pressed into service. "Admiral Peterson to Captain Brooks," came the familiar voice over the communication system. "Welcome home, Ryan. I hope you brought us something interesting." "About 3,000 alien warships, sir. They should be arriving in approximately 18 hours. Excellent. That gives us time to finish our preparations. Report to Luna Station for debriefing." As the Pioneer approached Luna Station, Captain Brooks could see the incredible transformation that had taken place. Mining ships from the asteroid belt had been equipped with military weapons. Deep space exploration vessels had been converted into fast attack craft. Even civilian cargo haulers had been modified with defensive systems. "Sir," Pete Sullivan said from the engineering station, "I count over 800 human vessels in the defense fleet. That is every ship we have that can carry weapons." Dr. Amy Foster was monitoring alien communications from across the galaxy. "Captain, the entire Federation is watching what happens here. If we lose, the Hegemony will use our defeat to justify conquering any species they consider dangerous. If we win, we prove that Deathworlders cannot be bullied by superior numbers." The debriefing at Luna Station was brief. Admiral Peterson wanted to know everything about alien technology and military capabilities. Dr. Stephen Clark was fascinated by the energy weapons and defensive systems used by Federation species. "The good news," Dr. Clark reported, "is that their weapons are designed to fight other Federation species. High-energy, low-impact weapons that would disable the delicate ships and fragile biology of most galactic races. The bad news is that we do not know how effective they will be against human technology." "And our weapons?" Admiral Peterson asked. "Designed to destroy things that are already incredibly tough. Our kinetic weapons and explosive charges are built to crack asteroids and demolish mountains. Against ships built for fighting other Federation races, they should be extremely effective." Captain Brooks was assigned command of the mining ship squadron. These converted civilian vessels would operate in the asteroid belt using the rocky debris as cover and weapons. Colonel Dan Murphy would coordinate the ground-based defenses on Earth itself. Commander Lisa Hayes, Jake Harrison's daughter, would lead the fast attack squadrons. 18 hours later, the Hegemony fleet arrived in Earth's solar system. War Commander Zektar had expected to find a primitive world defended by a handful of small ships. Instead, he discovered a complex defensive network that seemed to violate everything he understood about space combat. "This is impossible," Zektar said to his tactical officer. "They are operating ships in the radiation field around their star. No crew can survive those conditions." "Sir, our sensors indicate that the human vessels are using their own star as cover. They are hiding behind solar flares that would kill our crews instantly." "And the asteroid belt?" "The entire region is swarming with human vessels. They appear to be using the asteroids as both weapons and shields. Our tactical computers cannot calculate effective attack vectors through that debris field." War Commander Zektar had fought battles across half the galaxy, but he had never encountered an enemy that used environmental hazards as tactical advantages. The humans were not just fighting in conditions that would be deadly to most species, they were using those conditions against him. "Begin the attack," Zektar ordered. "All ships, advance to Earth." The battle that followed would be remembered throughout galactic history as the day Deathworlders proved they belonged among the stars. Captain Brooks led his mining ships through the asteroid belt, using massive chunks of rock as projectiles against the alien fleet. The converted civilian vessels moved through the debris field like fish through water, while the Hegemony ships struggled to navigate the hazardous environment. "Commander," Lisa Hayes and her fast attack squadron struck from the outer planets, diving through Jupiter's radiation belts to launch surprise attacks on the enemy fleet. The Hegemony ships could not follow them into the deadly radiation, giving the humans a perfect sanctuary for hit-and-run tactics on Earth itself. Colonel Murphy activated defensive systems that had been built into the planet's infrastructure. Orbital mining platforms became weapon stations. Communication satellites were converted into targeting systems. Even the space elevators were equipped with defensive weapons, but the most shocking moment came when Captain Nicole Foster led a desperate boarding action against the Hegemony flagship. Her team's success in capturing the enemy command vessel sent terror through the alien fleet. The sight of humans operating effectively in vacuum, surviving explosive decompressions, and fighting effectively in zero gravity became the stuff of nightmares for Hegemony soldiers. "War Commander," his tactical officer reported, "we have lost 37 vessels. The humans are using tactics we have never encountered. They fight in environments that would kill our crews, and they use their own planet's hazards as weapons." Zektar stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His massive fleet was being defeated by converted civilian vessels and industrial equipment. The humans were not just winning, they were making it look easy. The end came when Admiral Peterson opened a communication channel to the entire Hegemony fleet. "War Commander Zektar, this is Admiral Peterson of Earth Defense Command. You came here to capture or destroy humans because you feared our capabilities. You have now seen what we are capable of. But you have also seen that we use our abilities to defend, not to attack. We offer you one chance to withdraw with your remaining ships intact. And if we refuse?" Zektar asked. "Then you will discover why the galaxy calls us Deathworlders." The Battle of Sol lasted only 6 hours. When it ended, the Hegemony had lost over half their fleet. The survivors limped away from Earth's solar system, carrying news that would change galactic politics forever. Deathworlders were not mythical beings from ancient legends. They were real, they were powerful, and they could not be conquered by superior numbers alone. The aftermath of the battle transformed humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Species that had feared humans now respected them. The Hegemony's dominance was broken, and smaller worlds gained the courage to resist their demands for tribute and submission. Captain Brooks found himself promoted to admiral and placed in command of humanity's first galactic exploration fleet. Dr. Amy Foster became Earth's ambassador to the Federation Council. The Yuzu Pioneer was retired to a museum, but not before serving as the flagship for humanity's expansion into the galaxy. 3 months later, Admiral Brooks stood on the bridge of Earth's newest starship, watching as human vessels departed for dozens of different star systems. They carried explorers, scientists, teachers, and protectors to worlds that had never known such beings existed. "Admiral," his communication officer reported, "we are receiving requests for assistance from 17 different systems: mining, operations in hazardous nebulae, rescue missions in radioactive zones, and exploration of regions too dangerous for standard Federation ships." Admiral Brooks smiled. "Signal all ships to prepare for departure. It is time to show the galaxy what Deathworlders can really do." As humanity spread across the stars, they carried with them the lessons learned on Earth. Strength should be used to protect the weak, not to dominate them. Intelligence should be applied to solving problems, not creating them. And courage should be shared with those who needed it most. The galaxy would never be the same. The Deathworlders had arrived, not as conquerors but as guardians. And in a universe full of wonders and dangers that made all the difference,